Guys, you're listening to WSOU. I am Nick, and I'm here with Rival Choir's vocalist Josiah. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
So, a lot of stuff has happened with you guys recently. The biggest thing is probably the fact that you kind of almost in a way rebranded the entire band,
hmm
going with a new name, the sound and all of that. So, kind of walk us through because a lot of people either may not know that you guys are basically you are a band that's been around for a while, put out some
hmm
releases, and now it's almost like you're a new band in a way.
Yeah, Mouse of the South was what we were going under for the last, oh man, since really 2007, and put out a couple EPs and two full-length albums, and we're doing that for a long time. And then after, throughout the process, there's a few conversations that we had about like the possibility of changing the name and rebranding and stuff like that, but it just never really stuck until this past fall. And because we got to a point where we just kind of wanted to change up our music style quite a bit and change the way we branded our merchandise and stuff like that. And as we were talking about it, we just figured, if we're gonna rebrand partially, or if we're gonna rebrand at all, we might as well just like kind of dive in and go ahead and redo everything and just kind of reestablish ourselves because we felt pretty stagnant as Mouth of the South. And we figured if it doesn't work out, we don't we don't really have too much to lose. But if it does work out, then at least we're doing something that we're, really like that we really believe in, and the only reason why we wanted to do the name change and the rebranding is because we truly believe that that's what we were supposed to do. So whether it crashed and burned or it takes off, like either way, we're just happy to be doing what we know is the right thing to do for us.
Right. And now the interesting thing I thought was just the both names in general, the one you were using, the one now,
Mm-hmm.
they're very unique. And what exactly is kind of the meaning behind that? Because they're very interesting.
Yeah. So Mouth of the South started off, our original members just saw it on an energy drink can, and thought that it would be a funny band name for like a Southern metal band,
Okay.
um, and which never really fit the style of music that we were playing ever. But with Rival Choir, it just kind of came up through conversations that our guitarist was having with a friend about just a lot of like stuff as Christians we believe that we're supposed to be a light in the darkness and kind of like a city on a hill in opposition to what the like I guess typical what's what I'm looking for oh my gosh just like the cultural worldview that's like that wouldn't be the Christian worldview, and how we're kind of in opposition to that worldview in some areas, and so just being like the rivals to that, and then choir just being the spiritual aspect of the band, I guess.
Okay. And now with the new album that you put out, I believe Help
hmm
My Unbelief definitely has that message in it as well. And I saw your post on the band's Facebook page just the other day, kind of giving a little bit of background on the themes of it. And
Yeah.
I definitely think a lot of people relate to that. And I think that's a really cool thing to, kind of have that connection with a lot of people. So kind of what was your headspace going into the writing of this and the whole theme? Because I really like the title of it, the two parts, and how you have the two songs at the very end.
hmm Um. So with most of my lyrics, it's more just like what I need to get out,
Right.
and what I just need to be honest about. Um, and with the last Mouth of the South release, I wrote from that standpoint a little bit more, like trying to speak to people and trying to like present a message. And then I just felt like it wasn't as truly me as I needed to be at the time, and there's still like things that I needed to confess and really just like kind of air out. And
Right.
so with this latest album, I just kind of got to a point where it's like I need to go all out on this. I need to like really get this out there because I've used like transparency in the past to be like this mask that I've hid behind so that I can not have people like look too deeply into my own life and into my own issues because I'm transparent on the surface. And so with this album, I just, wanted to be as fully like real as I could possibly be. And 'cause I don't know, I feel like that's where the biggest like breakthroughs happen in people's lives. And so for this album, it wasn't really written to speak to anybody specifically, other than myself, just trying to be completely real with the people around me, and with God, and just saying like, hey, like this is genuinely me. And that's all that I can give.
Right. And now it's interesting since you kind of, in a way, started from the ground up again with this release. Going into the studio, what were your kind of expectations, and, what kind of went into the process? Because honestly, this is a very solid release in my eyes, and I've seen a lot of great reviews of it. And was that, a lot of work that was kind of tough for you to put into it, knowing, okay, we really have to do something with this?
Yeah, I mean, with every album that we've written, we know that it could very easily be the last one that we write.
Right.
Just given the music industry and how things go like that. But with the rebrand, we definitely put a lot more, like, we just really buckled down, and we're like, you know what, like, we really have to do something that we're proud of. And that means that we have to work our absolute hardest on it. I don't want to look back at the end of it all and say, man, we could have done more with that, because then that's not really truly being who we are. And so if it's going to be something that takes off, then we want it to be something that we're actually proud of, and not like we didn't want to write something that would be catchy, or that would be like, I don't know, that would just, sell well. We wanted it to first and foremost be something that was genuinely us. And if it did well, then awesome. And if not, then we can still stand by it. And so, yeah, it definitely was, like, I guess, nerve-wracking in the studio, and just exciting at the same time, because, like, we're finally getting to hear these songs that we put so much work into, like, actually come to fruition, and hear how the vocals sounded over it, because most of the time we just kind of, like, write the music, and I kind of, like, talk through the lyrics in my head and with other guys, but we don't really get to, like, hear the fullness of it until we're actually in the studio. So it was really exciting to hear everything. And I was like, man, like, we really like this. I really hope that people like this, because of all the, the work that we're putting into it. And, in every aspect of this album, we definitely worked our absolute hardest, from guitars to drums to bass to vocals to production to everything that went into it. We put our all into it for sure.
Awesome. And I know when I listen to it, I definitely feel some, influence from like Oh Sleeper and Norma Jean, and the fact that you already went out on tour with Oh Sleeper, you have the tour with Norma Jean coming up. How has that been, touring with these bands that I can see are, influential, and just the fact that you're on, those are some like pretty big bills to just jump onto.
Yeah, it's been really cool. For me, like, Oh Sleeper, I remember being 15 years old and fanboying my mind off at the first Oh Sleeper show ever, and like studying the lyrics the day of so that I could like try and scream along with Micah.
Right.
And then just like following them ever since. And then Norma Jean was probably like the first heavy band that I like really got into. Like my gateway bands, along with like Under Oath and the Chariot and stuff like that.
Right.
So to be able to like tour with these bands that have been huge influences has been really, really cool. Especially kind of in the progression that it's been, because like whenever I used to play guitar in Mouth of the South, but I started writing a lot of lyrics at the same time that I discovered Oh Sleeper and how Micah wrote his lyrics. And so that was like a huge, huge influence on the way that I went about writing from the beginning. And then, like I said, with Norma Jean being like pretty much the first band that I like really got into, and then with Rival Choir having Oh Sleeper be our first tour and then Norma Jean be our second tour is pretty wild,
yeah.
To say the least. Like it's been we just got home yesterday from the Oh Sleeper tour. And that was absolutely incredible. Definitely the best tour that we've been on so far. And we're just definitely looking forward to seeing what these future tours have in store for us. But yeah, it's definitely a really, really cool experience, and we consider ourselves very, very blessed to be able to have these opportunities that we have.
Yeah, definitely. And did you get a chance to hear any of the new Oh Sleeper? Because I know, they've been away for a couple of years now. They're coming back.
Right. Yeah, they played one new song on the tour, and it sounded pretty dang cool. So I'm definitely excited. I know they're starting the writing process now, or continuing it now, and
Right.
trying to get it done for the fall. So yeah, it was a really sick song. So I'm excited to see what they come up with.
That's really cool. Now, with your album, I wanted to know, because a lot of people, since it's a new band to them, they don't know the backstory. What would you choose as one song to just kind of, that maybe you're most proud of, or that really gets what you want to get across to people, that would be like, hey, if you don't have the time to listen to my full album and you don't know who we are, but definitely check out this one song?
That's a tough one. Oh man. I'd probably say if you listen to I Believe and Help My Unbelief as one track as they were originally written,
Okay.
then that would probably be the most encompassing. Because we wrote that as one song, and in studio we're like, hey, it'd be kind of cool to split that into two songs so that maybe one day live we could play like I Believe as the first song of the set,
Okay.
and then Help My Unbelief as the last song of the set. So let's do it as two different songs.
Okay.
But it's still essentially like it's one theme throughout, and if you like just listen to it, it doesn't even really sound like you skip a beat or anything. I feel like that's probably the most like all-encompassing song of the album.
Okay. Now, in your live set, are you doing that currently in your live set, or is that like a future thing?
Yeah, we haven't incorporated it yet live.
Okay.
We've been focusing on the 3 singles that we have out, and then that we put out before the CD, and then just I guess with those being the last tracks from the CD, we're trying to work in some of the earlier tracks because people that stream the CD kind of listen to those
Right.
before they listen to the last ones. So we've been focusing on the earlier tracks so far.
Okay. So you're completely moved away from Mouth of the South. You're not playing any of that, right?
Right. And it's all rival choir now.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say wrapping up?
Just thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And if you listen to our music, that's the most incredible thing that you could do for us. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course.